Dear man, we stand before you today as women devoted to becoming more conscious in every way.
We understand and acknowledge that for the past 40 or 50 years, the divine feminine has obviously been on the rag, and has caused a lot of destruction to one of the greatest countries in the world, the United States of America.
I apologize that the energy of the divine feminine is so severely lacking in intellect, that it failed to question a slew of hate-filled, twat-licking factoids, and her story revisions that effectively demonize men and male sexuality. I deeply regret that many of you have been robbed of your homes and your children because the energy of the divine feminine was on the rag at the time you experienced a divorce. I apologize for the destructive actions of the divine feminine. Rather than listen to reason, the divine feminine chose to listen to a slew of carpet-munching boondaggers that now has most of us women wandering God's green earth with chips on our shoulders the size of the most unholy of states. I don't know.
I want to apologize that the divine feminine rambles on and on about witch burning in days past and portrays it as some kind of gendercide war against women, when in fact, the number of men who were lynched without a fair trial or any evidence of any kind simply because a woman accused him of rape makes the number of witch burnings look like an itty-bitty pimple on an elephant's fat hairy ass. I farted. I'm sorry that our constant spewing of angry feminist verbal diarrhea has gotten some men wound up so tight that if you were to stick a lump of coal in their ass, they would shit diamonds.
And, because of my constant spewing of feminist verbal diarrhea, some men feel obligated to apologize for things that never happened.
And even if they did happen, there is no way they, or any other men alive today, could possibly be held responsible for them. What the fuck is with all these birds? Shut up!
I apologize that the divine vagina has convinced most of us that in days past, men used to beat and rape their wives regularly, when the fact is, the motto of men in days past was, women and children first. Even today, the cardinal rule of men is to never hit a woman. But that divine feminine thing hits us once a month, and makes us batshit crazy. Sorry that the divine feminine completely ruined marriage and relationships. The fact is, marriage has always been a better deal for us women.
With the destructive forces of the divine feminine at work, most of us women just kept bitching and bitching until marriage and relationships, and even the dating scene in general, was completely fucked up. What a bunch of dimwits we are, for actually listening to this divine feminine thing. I farted again.
Sorry that I now view your sexuality with fear, paranoia, and repugnancy, because of all the bullshit wound-licking factoids and rape hysteria that the retarded feminine, divine feminine, has shoved down our throats.
I am sorry that the energy of the divine feminine wants us to play your sexual attractions against you. Instead of acting like civilized human beings and giving you a direct and polite response to your advances, most of us women now act like sadistic she-devils or conniving bitches that will string you along for money or whatever might suit our needs at the time.
Sorry for using the word misogynist more often than we use our brains, that is, those of us that have been granted brains by the divine feminine.
The divine feminine has taught us that any man saying policeman or fireman instead of police officer or firefighter is misogynist. What a crock of cow poo.
The fact is, the divine feminine wouldn't know what the fuck a misogynist was, even if one crawled up her fat ass and died 1,000 deaths. There go those damn fucking birds again. Shut up!
I apologize for the divine feminine rambling on and on about female genital mutilations that allegedly happen in some country thousands of miles away that most of us dumb broads cannot spell, pronounce, or even point to on the fucking globe. In contrast, right here in our own country, that divine feminine energy thing gleefully celebrates men's genitals being severely mutilated, regardless of the character of the man.
This is, without a doubt, concrete proof that this divine feminine thing has its head planted firmly up its ass.
That was a wet one.
Sorry for being so fucking retarded that I actually spout off the divine feminine's lies about feminism standing for equality. I mean, seriously, can you believe that shit?
That is how fucking stupid we are. Just look at the AWA for an example of the equality that feminism provides. Shit, that's like saying Hitler stood for equality between the Germans and the Jews.
Man, we are really fucking stupid.
Sorry that the divine feminine has led me to breed with complete psychopaths and then feel entitled to have some other man pay for the children. Whether I do this using paternity fraud or by making men so sexually desperate by being a pissy little witch is irrelevant. No man should have to pay for another man's children.
I'm sorry that the energy of the divine feminine is so fucking retarded that we now confuse sex with sexism. Hence, whenever anything is sexually suggestive, the divine feminine flies off of its broomstick like a rabid pit bull on crack and tries to destroy any man in its path.
Whether the material suggests or fosters social roles or domination of one sex by the other is irrelevant. Any sexual innuendos are taken as sexism, and hence considered patriarchal or evil by their nature.
Sorry that the fucktard, divine feminine has most of us dim-witted broads convinced that disagreements are not things to be argued with logic and facts, but rather with emotions and hysteria.
We also apologize that we have applied the same dim-witted attitude towards the American justice system and completely screwed the whole thing up.
I apologize for what the energy of the divine feminine has done to the family courts. It has turned what used to be American justice into a comical kangaroo-style court, where a mere accusation from a woman is held as supreme testimony, and actual evidence is not needed to completely destroy a man's reputation, career, and overall well-being. Birds. Birds. Fuck. Shut up.
Whose bright idea was it to call it the divine feminine in the first place? It should be called the divine fuckwit or something.
No shit. How about the divine fucktard instead? Or maybe the divine feminut?
Divine feminine, isn't that an oxymoron?
Yes, it is. But unconscious feminine would be redundant.
Actually, looking at things, this country would still be a nice place if it wasn't for the dipshit, divine, feminine, whatever thing constantly being on the rag and listening to a bunch of carpet-munching factoids and twat-licking hysteria. Gosh, us women have sure fucked things up by listening to that divine feminine thing, haven't we?